What's poppin' peeps? Team Money here to do a review for you for Body Bags this Wednesday. The movie I chose to do is Wolf Creek. The week is 166, I believe, and it is actually Aussie Horror Week. So, yeah, let's get right into it. Sorry, once again, as usual, that it's coming to you so late, but better late than never, as I always say. And I'm sure a lot of you guys have seen this film, but honestly, I haven't seen that many Aussie films, I don't think, so this one stood out as I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the series so far, even though there's only been two, but, so yeah, this movie, set in the Australian outback, it is a sequel to Wolf Creek 1, obviously, which is one of Quentin Tarantino's most famous movies, favorite movies, and it is... An interesting fact is that it's inspired by the serial killer Ivan Milat. So John Jarratt, who plays Mick Taylor, I guess his character is inspired by a real-life serial killer. That's why I think it says based on true events on the first film. Loosely based. But, so yeah, this film came out in 2013. It's the sequel to Wolf Creek 1, obviously. Directed by Greg McLean, who did the first film, I think. And it stars John Jarratt, who plays Mick Taylor, the psycho, loony, hilarious serial killer. And also Ryan Corr, sorry I took notes, so I'll be referring to them, who plays Paul Hammersmith, who's like your main character in the film. Yeah, it's distributed by Image it also stars Shannon Ashlia, who plays Ryan Corr's girlfriend for a little bit in the film. So it's distributed by Image and RLJ Entertainment, if you care. And again, it came out in 2013, so let's see here. So I guess I'll read you the synopsis from the back of the film. It says, lured by the promise of an Australian holiday, exchange student Paul visits the notorious Wolf Creek crater. His dream outback adventure soon becomes a horrific reality when he encounters the site's most infamous local, Mick Taylor, played by John Jarratt. When Paul attempts to flee, Mick pursues him across a hostile wasteland and eventually drags him back to his underground lair. After seeing the true magnitude of Mick's monstrosity, Paul's only hope of surviving where no one has before, will be to use every ounce of cunning to outwit the man behind the monster. So, this film, I enjoyed. I don't like it as much as the first film, sorry. But I enjoyed it. I mean, I thought it was fun, so I recommend it. I guess some things that I liked about the film are the gore and effects. They're top-notch for sure. It's definitely awesome effects in this film. They kick ass and they're gruesome and brutal. There's a decapitation. There's a lot of shotgun scene. I don't want to spoil it for those who haven't seen it. The few of you who haven't seen it, but yeah, it's good. Sorry, I can't get comfortable here. Explosion scenes. What I really liked and what a lot of people like, I think, is the opening sequence. It's fantastic. I don't want to spoil it for those who haven't seen it, but it involves Mick Taylor, John Jarratt, and two policemen in a cruiser, and they pull him over and harass him, and it's awesome. The effects are great in that scene, so I highly recommend that one. The thing is, the film kind of goes downhill after that, unless you like kind of like a cat and mouse type film, but it's been done so many times before. So it has a really strong opening sequence, but then the remainder of the film is basically Mick Taylor pursuing Paul. And what I didn't like, well, what else I liked were the kills. I said there's a decapitation, explosion, shotgun blast. There are 7 on-screen kills, which doesn't seem like many, but it's action-packed. I mean, the film doesn't really stop from start to finish, so you're not ever really bored, except for me at the end a little bit, which I'll get into. But yeah, I mean, the kills are awesome, so I enjoyed the kills, and I like the connection. So in the first scene, one of the cops says to Mick, your car looks like it's been run off by a cliff, and in fact, in the first film, his car did get run off over a cliff. So they try to tie that together. So I just said that I like how there's a loose connection between the two films, you know, because they're using the same characters here, and so that was kind of subtle. And also the dialogue is pretty good. It's funny. It can be a little much because in this film, Mick Taylor, John Jarratt, plays his role as the wacky outback serial killer is more humorous than in the first film. The first film is more just straight up, like, he's got, you know, he's funny and he cracks some jokes, but this film is like a little over the top, a little too much with that. So with that, I'll go into some of the things I didn't like about the film. Oh, I also really like the outback setting. Those of you who like that Australia outback scenery will really enjoy it as well. But so some things I didn't like about the film. There's a kangaroo sequence where John Jarrett, Mick Taylor's pursuing Paul on the road. It's like a road, and it's a cool scene, but it goes on for a little bit too long. And the sequence involves some kangaroos getting run over, and it's just like so stupid. You can tell they're totally CGI, way over the top also, and I just didn't like that scene at all. So I just wrote the kangaroo scene. So towards the end of the film, it's just the cat and mouse thing is a little bit much, because it just becomes like after the first quarter of the film, which kicks ass, it just becomes John Jarrett pursuing Paul for the rest of the movie into his lair where I'll tell you in a sec. So I just thought that was, you know, it would have been nice to have, like in the first film, there's like 3 people being pursued. In this one, they're all killed off pretty quick, and then it's just him chasing him. So, I mean, it is what it is. It's not horrible, but it's just a little bit much. I got bored with it. And so at the very end of the movie, without spoiling too much, John Jarrett, Mick Taylor, pursues Paul into his lair, which was mentioned in the synopsis. And from there, you get like a half hour to 40 minutes of them playing the Aussie history game, as Mick Taylor calls it, where he has Paul tied to a chair, and he quizzes him, and anytime he gets a question wrong, he like chops off his finger or whatever. So, and it's just like, that's the end. Well, I don't want to spoil it, but it's just too long, too much of that sequence. So I got really bored watching that. And the humor, again, it just kind of took me out of the movie a little bit. I thought it was a little bit much, because I personally I like more my slashers to be serious. I don't mind humor, but I didn't really go into this movie thinking it was going to be a horror comedy, and that's kind of with the dialogue what you get a bit. So that being said, the film's good. It's definitely entertaining. The special effects are top notch. The opening sequence is so good that whether you like the film or not, it's worth seeing, because it's great. I mean, I'm sure you'll like it. I recommend it. And yeah, so I guess that's pretty much it. I like the first film a little bit better, because it's more serious in tone, and it involves more, it's a cat and mouse game, but it involves more characters. So this film was direct to DVD in 2000 and Blu-ray in 2013. I don't know if it was released in theaters. It may have been, but I'm not sure. I just said direct to DVD, but I don't know. So you can grab it pretty easily for pretty cheap, I'm sure. And yeah, so that's been my review for Aussie Horror Week of Wolf Creek 2. I always get the Aussie accent screwed, so I don't really know how to talk like an Aussie. But anyway, you guys have a good one. I'll catch you next Wednesday. This is DOTD 1986 reporting for Body Bags, where horror lies. I'll catch you next week, guys. Peace.